I'm going to try to get one of these. So we have a JST housing with some wires in. I'm going to try to get a crimp out. So if you make a mistake and you have to get it out, remember there's a little flap on the crimp. You need to push it down, and then you can pull them out, back out. So you notice, you can see there's a little flap here. Not hard to see. Little flap that catches in the housing when they are in there. All right, so these are JST crimps, and we're gonna start over here. So let me just cut these off. Pretend like we had bare wires, like we'll have, say, the motor wires or the sensor wires. We have bare wires, and we want to be able to plug them in, plug whatever it is, the motor or the sensor, into the board. And so we need to get them into the housing. And so the way we do it is with these little crimps that go onto the ends of the wires and then get inserted into the housing. Okay. And so just first step, we need to strip a little bit of insulation off the end of the wire. And we need just a little bit of the wire showing. That maybe is a little extra long, actually. I'll cut a little extra off. So something like that is good for how we want them stripped. Here's our crimping tool. Let's get to that in a minute, but let's look at the crimps themselves around these strips so that we don't lose these tiny little things. If you notice, each one has some kind of wings, the U-shaped wings that are going to wrap around the outer ones around the insulation, the inner ones around the wire, and then they have the little flap that sticks up. This is going to catch in the housing and not let it pull back out. It's kind of like a barb on a fish hook. Maybe you could call it a barb that's going to catch. Okay, so let's take one of these off, bend it back and forth so it comes off of the strip that it's on. And I like to take the wings and pinch them in a little bit so they fit in the crimper better. Make them stand up kind of straight. Okay, so here's our crimping tool. It's a ratcheting action, so once you start the ratcheting, it gets stuck. You can't open them back up, so you have to go all the way down and tighten before it'll come back and loosen up. So I like to get it down a couple of notches here. Something that's probably too far. Something like that, so that I can put the wing. I like to put it in from this side. Put the wings in, and watch that you don't get past that barb. You see the barb is still on the outside of the crimper. It's not going to get, we don't want to smush that barb. Okay, so it's sticking out. The crimp is sticking out, and I like to clamp it down, just maybe one more little clamp there, so it's kind of sturdily in there. Flip it over here, you can see the crimp is just almost flush with the outside here. Basically it is. You can see the wings in there, so it's in there so that the U shape is sitting up into the open end of the crimper. So I'm going to take the wire and put it in so that the insulation is inside the crimp, because remember that first crimp is the first wings are going to get onto the insulation. And so then you just hold it there and tighten it all the way down. It takes a little bit of force, clamp it all the way down tight until it lets go, lets it open up. And there you have a crimp. So you can see these outer wings crimped onto the insulation to hold it there. So if you pull on a little bit, you're not going to pull the wire or hurt the wire too much. The insulation is working, and then the inner crimps are crimped around the wire. All right, so we got our housing here. And so like you saw at the beginning, it is possible to get these out, but it's not very easy. And so try to make sure, pay attention. This side, the housing has these kind of little barbs on it. You can see the shadows. And so kind of reference that side and get the order right. Maybe it's supposed to be green, red, black, or what have you. But make sure you put them in right the first time. It's a lot easier than having to take them out and do it over. So look for the barb side on the crimp there. That has to go into these little windows. And so I'm going to I've got the barb up now. I'm just going to slide it into the slot. You hear a little clicking sound, and now you can't pull the red out. Okay, it's stuck in there. Let's do that all one more time just for practice. So you want to strip the wire. Make sure it's just a little bit there. Something like that. Just a little bit for the crimp to grab. Get the crimp off of its strip there. Tighten the crimp up a little. so that the flaps, whoops, so that the flaps are pretty well straight up so they'll go in the crimpers easily. Start the ratcheting of the crimper. So it's just a nice size for the crimps to go in. If you do it too far, go all the way tight and then start over. There we go, that's a little better. When you put it in, make sure it doesn't get in too far, that the flap is just right there. Maybe one little notch now is easier. Make sure it's kind of flush on this other side. Find your wire. Put the wire in. Insulation goes at part way in. Hold everything steady. Insulation goes part way in. And then clamp it down real tight. And check it out. So again, the outer wings are clamped onto the insulation, inner wings are around the wire. And let's say this one's supposed to go on the end. Check for the little barb is sticking up here. It's got to go into this window. Slide it in the right way, in the right place. I didn't hear that one snap, but it should snap. Anyway, it won't pull out now. And so you've got them in there. And you're all set for having an easy way to plug and unplug the wires if you need to onto the board. So there you have it.